Folks, what if we told you that Disney has largely ruined Walt Disney World, but they're hiding it? What if we told you we can prove it? Hang tight, let's go there. This is out of WDW Magic. It says Disney's Animal Kingdom paper map now shows Dino Land replaced by Tropical Americas. And that's true. Disney didn't have to do that. They had plenty of land to just put in, Tropical Americas and keep Dino Land. Keep something and they could have upgraded Dino Land, but they chose not to. And that means that right now, if you go to Animal Kingdom, folks, and the crowd levels are a 4 at Animal Kingdom, Disney right now hosting the high school dance and cheerleading competition national championship. So it's filled with all families from all over the country there. Animal Kingdom at a 4, but the number of attractions that they have. Avatar, Flight of Passage, 1. Expedition Everest, 2. Kali River Rapids, bet you're not going to ride that today, 3. Kilimanjaro Safaris, 4. Not counting a meet and greet. Navi River Journey, I should not count that, but I will. I'm stuck with it, 5. And Zootopia, not really an attraction or a ride, it's just a show, and it's less than the last one, 6. There are 6 things really to do at Animal Kingdom, unless you say, well, pro, that, it's just one park, and they're working on it. At Epcot, Grand Fiesta Tour, 1. Cosmic Rewind, 2. Journey into Imagination with Figment, which I just rode, and every single non-screen effect was broken. Literally every single. And one of the scenes, the audio wouldn't even play. 3. Living with the Land, 4. Not counting meet and greets. Mission Space, 5. Remy's, 6. Nemo, 7. And every single non-screen feature was also broken on that. Soarin', 7. Spaceship Earth, 8. Test Track, 9. There are 9 attractions to do at Epcot. Now we can keep going. I can do Hollywood Studios. We can keep going, folks. It's all the same except at Magic Kingdom. But here's what I need to show you, okay? As there's nothing to do at all at Disney World whatsoever, guess what? Blog Mickey is reporting domestic Disney theme parks actually had a decrease in attendance that's being hidden by Disney. And I think it's worse than that. Folks, I recommend you go read this. It's a tremendous article. I'll just give you the first paragraph. It says, the Walt Disney Company has released its Q1 2026 earnings report. That didn't go well. And with that comes some details about the health of its theme parks. Overall, the theme park division called Disney Experiences had a nice financial quarter because of the cruise line, because they opened the new one up. A record $10 billion in revenue and $3.3 billion in operating income were 6% increases, respectively. However, it goes on to talk about the domestic theme parks are not doing okay. Here's what I think is happening. Here's what I think how Disney has screwed themselves up. Number 1, they have not invested in rides. These are not theme parks anymore. And I think that Universal still are theme parks. But number 2, what Disney has done, because I went to Disney World this last time and I decided to not pull any of my tricks or my shenanigans and just pay what everybody else has to pay from all over the country and see, how painful is it? It is at least $200 to get in if you're not a Floridian and if you're not using some of the tricks and, $200 a day. And that's just to get in. Then it's no longer a theme park. It's basically a ped mall where you go from consumption point to consumption point. So you leave one spot and you go to another spot to buy food or drinks or whatever. And even the big rides, you pay to get on the big rides. So literally you pay $200 as a cover charge for each person to get into theme parks now. And there's nothing to do. And guess what? There's not only nothing to do, but in my estimation now in 2026, the money that's being made by Disney is coming from uber rich Europeans and some East Coasters and some South Americans, but the uber ultra wealthy coming to the theme parks and spending all kinds of crazy money for their once a generation trip. And then Disney hides that this is the whole game plan by padding out the stats with local Floridians who are paying like $20 a day to go. And then that creates the strangest dynamic I have ever seen at Disney parks, because now Disney parks, unlike Universal, filled to the brim with 2 types of consumer.
It's
Floridians.
Not Disney World Pro. It's Disney a la carte world.
Well, that's the truth. That is definitely the truth.
They have their a la carte menu, okay?
Yeah, DLC Disney is what I call it, but Disney a la carte, not bad either. So what's going on here? You got 2 different groups of people that are coming to Disney parks now. You got ultra crazy wealthy people, and then you got Floridians just stopping by at low cost to make it seem like it's full. The other thing that's happening, and people don't realize this, you'll talk to people and they'll say, oh, I don't know what you guys are lying about it, because it feels, like it's crowded, it's shoulder to shoulder. And I thought about that, because they're right. It does feel full when you're there, even when it's not. So I was at one of the theme parks, and I'm looking at the crowd level meter, and the crowd level meter is like a 3 or 4, but the park looks full. And I go out to the parking lot. Parking lot's halfway full. How is this possible? Well, panel, I'm going to hand it to you, because what I think is happening here is I think there's so little to do now at the Disney parks that people are literally just walking from point A to point B looking for something to do, when there's like 6 rides actually. And the parks are filled with people just walking from mini bar to fake gourmet food stand to fake gourmet. And that's what this is. And they're tricking the uber rich Europeans to do that, the ultra wealthy global elite, for a once a generation, and then padding it out with Floridians who are paying nothing to be there. Ron?
So I don't know if you noticed this when you were in the parks, but the so-called lightning lanes, right? The so-called skip to the front of the line, you pay to play once you're already in the parks. Did you notice how long those lines are? They are not limiting them to the limited capacity that they should be at. And it's very different, like at Universal. Universal, if you pay for that upcharge, and it's kind of like the Premier Lightning Lane, because you pay a very, very big upcharge to get in the front at Universal, but they really limit the capacity on that, so that if you pay that upcharge, your wait time probably never more than 10 minutes for an attraction that might have an hour and a half wait. At Disney, you could be waiting 45 minutes in a lightning lane.
Right.
And this is where you're talking about that stacking up. So then you have the cast members who have to let the lightning lane people in versus the regular people. So now you see those wait times going really, really up, but the wait times are not filled with people in the regular queue. They're filled with people in the lightning lane, and they don't have a very good balance for how they're queuing. So a lot of people will get in the queue and then get out, and it's a lot of crowding. You probably see it a lot at Epcot, which is why they're filling up Epcot with festivals. And you think about the charges to get into the parks now. It is becoming far less of a value proposition, unless you're a content creator, to get an annual pass to any of the Disney parks, because you get inside there and all you can do is walk around, shop, and eat. Yep. You can't get on the attractions.
That's exactly right.
That's creating a huge value proposition. So if you do have the money, you're talking about those people coming in and have the money. Well, $200 per person per day to get in the parks. If they're doing Premier Lightning Lane, you're talking about another $300+ per person. If you sit down to eat anything, you're talking about $500 for a sit-down meal. You're talking about going to Geo 82, which is the bar in Epcot. You're going to get a reservation, so you're going to pay for something when you're inside. You're probably spending $50 per person for a single drink and appetizer. I mean, it's absolutely outrageous.
So I ran the numbers on this. I did this to find out how painful is it. Like if you're just a normie and you just go to Disney World, I could not believe how expensive. If you're not a Floridian and you try to go to Disney World, per person, it is easily $300 per day. It is easily, when you consider food and paying to get on the rides and all that. And there's nothing to do. Take a look at this from Wall Street Apes. And by the way, and people say, oh, but it's crowded, Pro. The attendance is up. It's like, yeah, because they're offering Floridians, like, just get in here so it looks like it's full. This is the strangest strategy ever. Wall Street Apes has this. American was going through his things and found an old Disney World vacation he made from 2010. For a 5-night vacation, just 15 years ago, it was $2,000 essentially. Okay? We'll play this. I'll keep it silent, but you can see that the layout of how much was spent. I'm going to tell you, if you take a family of 4 or 5, you're going to spend that in 2 days. Easily 2 days. And I don't see how this is sustainable. This is the strangest strategy I've ever seen for any company to say we're going to charge at insane levels for everybody except the locals, and then we're going to pad it out with the locals, basically let them in for free so that it looks crowded.
Well, Pro, to be fair, if you have a family of 4 or 5, you're going to spend that in one day. Like,
Probably.
honestly. And then the
You spent $1,500, yeah.
Oh my gosh, the hotel rooms. If so, you can see that if you're Floridian local, if you're an annual pass holder, you can get those discounts on the hotel rooms. Anybody that's not getting the discounts is paying the full price. I mean, some of those rooms are the Grand Floridian $1,500, $1,800 a night. It's crazy. And by the way, it's often under construction when you get there. I know there's people that came into the Polynesian. I'm like, why is there these things closed at the Polynesian? The rooms aren't the same. The new stuff that they're putting up, like the new building at the Polynesian, it looks like your standard Marriott. It's not the theming that it used to be. I wish that I get so frustrated about what it is now because I want it to be the way it was in 2015 or 2010 or 2006.
The entrance at the Polynesian now got rid of, like, they have this special entrance for the bus loop, and they got rid of all the foliage that used to be there. So now it doesn't give you that same feeling of, like, remember in the 90s when you would go to the Poly, how it felt it felt like you were going into another location of, like, a little paradise. That's gone because now all those beautiful plants and trees that were blocking, the outside world are gone. So now you're actually seeing there's no more covering, and I'm going to go back on mute.
Oh, you got some noise back there. You're exactly right, MJ. And, I'm thinking about all the nickel and diming because I wanted to suffer. If they make people suffer, I want to suffer and know what it's like. I know the tricks. I know, but what did normies go through? $4 for a bottle of water, $35 for parking, $85 if you've got somebody in your group who has mobility issues, $85 to rent a scooter for them. I mean, the numbers are crazy. It's just absolutely astronomically crazy. But Vash, what is going on here? Because the bifurcation is unreal. Why did Disney do this where they've made it unaffordable for the middle class? And you got to be, really and truly, you're going to spend $10,000 to go to Disney now with your family if you're outside of Florida. And if you're inside Florida, they've made it so that you pay almost nothing.
Yeah, they've taken this kind of almost Vegas model or this kind of 80-20 model, right? Where like 20% of your customers or your whales provide 80% of your revenue and so forth. And they have just kind of jumped both feet into this kind of business model for the parks. They really expect, and we saw articles throughout 2025 talking about how, oh, look, the ultra rich are really the ones contributing to these kind of year-over-year increases for these park divisions and so forth. Not just Disney, but Universal, but especially Disney and so forth. And Disney has a plethora of options now in order to get the most out of those big spenders right there. Like, for example, Lightning Lane Premium Pass, that $400 Lightning Lane option, that was only something recently adopted by the Walt Disney Company, originally kind of planned for Disneyland. Walt Disney World kind of took it, ran with it and so forth, and now you have this premium Fast Pass or Lightning Lane option that people can buy into per person per day, and that increases your revenue and your operating income. And that's the other thing too. It's not just it's making more off of less people, right? I think Jonas brought up the 10Q from this latest earnings, and he was saying, look, per caps are up by 4%, and I think they were up 4% the previous year's quarter as well. And we're going to up the prices on just about everything. And this is the interesting thing, Pro. You brought up like the lack of attractions, right? Walt Disney World, they love the lack of attractions. Less to maintain, less to operate, less infrastructure, less labor, and so forth. But here's the thing. When you have disparate attractions at corners of your parks, well, what are you going to do on the way to getting to those attractions, right? Look at the ODV carts. Look at the snack stands. Look at, all these things on the way from going to point A and point B. And that's all about getting the most revenue out of you while you are actually, walking around. I think Business Insider has a YouTube video going viral right now talking about how from 2009 to recently when Business Insider reporters actually went to the parks, I think it was in 2025, 2024, they were, seeing just how much prices have gone up for like snacks, for example. Like a Mickey bar was $2.69 back in the day, and now it's like over $6. And, you have 70, 80, 100, 150 percentile increases from just a few years ago. And it was really quite alarming right there. You heard Bob Iger, too, on this recent earnings call. I was fascinating to hear him say this, but he was saying, oh, yeah, there was a period in the park's recent history in which we weren't investing. Remember what he said when questioned about that before? He said, oh, well, we already invested on the way to Epic Universe. We invested in Avatar and all these different things, right? In order to justify not spending any money then. Now it's like, now we're investing. But the reason he said it now was because, it just didn't have good ROI. And it's like, wait a minute. At the same time you didn't invest, Universal did. And they have 25% gains in their EBITDA and their revenue right now from Epic Universe. That's what happens when you invest in your parks. And now they're playing catch up. And now, in order to justify and pay for all these these capital expenditures that they pushed off, now they're trying to get out even more money. And it's really, I think, hurting the overall reputation for these parks. I think it's hurting, the middle class, kind of Kansas goer or Pennsylvania goer and so forth. And like you said, Pro, they are really placing an emphasis on international tourists for that reason.
Go ahead, Ron.
Well, I was just going to say there's one other thing that Pro talked about the disparity. The people that are saving up and they're middle class, and then you pay 10 grand for a vacation that's only 5 days long. Guess what that creates in the parks with those people not having the perfect experience
and nothing to do.
But it's the fights that are breaking out, and we've never seen it before like we have in the last few years, where people are getting angry at family members, angry at other parties, things happening, people, cast members being nearly assaulted. Things that you never heard about happening in a Disney park just 5 years ago are happening now, and it's bizarre. It's just so strange, and then the behavior, of people who are taking advantage of all the new bars in Disney World, people climbing up the Mexican pavilion, jumping in water they're not supposed to. It's just created a whole, it's not the atmosphere that it used to be.
Well, I'll show one more thing before we wrap this particular topic. I want to show Epcot for a minute. I just want people to understand what we're talking about here. So if we go to Epcot to the World Showcase, we can get that on here. The World Showcase is the size of a theme park. I mean, Epcot is essentially two theme parks squished together, right? And so World Showcase is the size of its own theme park. You start in the Mexico Pavilion, and I'm just here to tell you, I know some of you like the Three Caballeros. I get it. Tres Caballeros. The ride, Rio del Tiempo, is not worth riding. It's not, okay? It's not worth it. Frozen is fine. It's a short ride. It's fine. And then you get all the way, I guess the American Adventure, the show it's impressive. There's a show there. Remy's, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't like it. It's not as good as Spider-Man by any regard in Islands of Adventure. That's been there for 20 or 30 years. I don't think Remy's is impressive in any way. And that's it. That is all there is to do in World Showcase, except buy stuff and get drunk. And that's how people get frustrated. And this is not a thing that, Disney has decided to do this. Here's the UK, for example. They're going to put in the Mary Poppins stuff over here. There's no reason they can't have a double-decker carousel that would cost them exceedingly little money to do, have almost no operational cost, but would give kids something to do. I can come up with a dozen rides for a dozen places. They have tons of land. They can do a magic carpet ride in Morocco. I can just spitball things they could do that would have very little cost whatsoever, and they choose not to. They have cynically decided they just want you to go from one thing to the next and spend more money. And when there's nothing else to do, guess what people will do? They will spend more money because there's nothing else to do. But that doesn't work if you're trying to get middle-class Americans to come to your parks. That only works if you are just brazenly deciding, hey, what if the Europeans and the South Americans are going to make this their once-a-generation trip? What if we just hose them? I mean, just hose them. And I'll tell you the thing too. From my time in the 90s, I remember being at Disney World, and I remember lots of SEC football shirts. I remember lots of Alabama fans and LSU fans and Texas and all that. That is gone. Ron, I don't know if you've noticed that. That is gone.
Yeah, no, it's not the same. There's a lot of Europeans, I'm trying to think of my experience of going to the parks this last year in 2025, not 2026, but 2025. Lots of non-English speaking people, non-English speaking guests throughout the parks, and that's fine. I don't have an issue with that. It's just that it's not. Disney to me just doesn't have the magic that it once had, and I'll always go back to that 2015 commercial that ends with zippity doodah, because when you look at that commercial today and you think, where is that? Where is that magic? Where is that fun? Where is that Disney difference?
Well,
it's not
Magical Express, Magic Bands, you just go through the list.
40% drop in the Disney stock over the past 5 years, the market going the opposite. I think that people are feeling this. And I think that we're all living under this kind of bubble where the news media refuses to report this, where Disney hides it by bringing in locals for free to say, here, pad this out for us. I think Disney is running after hours events like crazy now to try to keep the attendance from flagging red to everybody. But there's a red arrow going down, 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 down at Disney, and they need to reverse this fast. Josh D'Amaro has been the head of parks. Can he reverse it for the company when he did not do so for his segment? I don't know. But it's going to be an interesting ride at Disney.
Going back to, the promotions, to get the locals in and to create that spike in attendance, bringing in the locals and, practically just like, here's a ticket, you pay $60 a day, whatever. I really think that something, like you said, Pro, there's a strategy in place that we can't, it's like we're trying to put this puzzle together and we can't. The Disney Cruise Line is where the magic is, and they're giving those away like hotcakes. I was just, this past month, I was looking at the Disney Cruise Line website. I mean, a party of 4, under $3,000 to go to the Bahamas, and you have a $250 credit on board. It's like, I don't know if they're pushing people or Florida residents or whatever they're doing to go on their ships, less in the parks. I'm trying to figure all this out, because yes, they are attracting the internationals and the people with the higher incomes to the parks, but these cruise line are, how is a party of 4 less than $3,000? All inclusive cruise. You're talking about food, drinks, everything, entertainment. And it's way better than the park entertainment, in my opinion, from what I've seen, of course, but I'm just trying to think, what exactly is the strategy that Disney is doing? Should we get everyone on our ships while we do the parks, while we have the rides going, all this construction? I don't know. And I just wanted to bring that point up. $250 credit on board, that's a lot of money, because your food is all inclusive, your drinks are all inclusive. So, that just gives you extra spending money to do, onshore excursions, perhaps, or buy merchandise on the ship itself. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I don't know, but I'll tell you this. Disney needs to change the trajectory of their domestic parks. They're the highest margin. They're the most reliable, and they've sustained Disney through hard times. Let's see if Josh D'Amaro can change the times that appear to be forthcoming for Disney World.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.